Hello, my name is Sean Jackson. I am from Resgrid.com. In this video, we're going to give a brief service introduction to what Resgrid does. So first, let's identify the problem that Resgrid is solving. Resgrid is a tool to be used for any distributed force that cannot communicate directly. So volunteer fire departments, search and rescue teams, some hazmat teams, disaster relief organizations, organizations where you don't have constant radio contact, and it's difficult to communicate via email blasts, text messages to multiple personnel, or any number of situations where you just don't have like direct radio contact. This can also work for people that do have radio, say like a career fire department, but their forces are geographically diverse, so they can't communicate well due to line of sight issues or repeater issues. Say the repeater goes down, that's another issue that Resgrid can help solve. And what it allows your users and your personnel to do is to track their other personnel's current state. So if you're responding to a station for cardiac arrest, you want to know who's coming, you can fire up your phone and see which users, which personnel you have coming. It's like, okay, we got a couple EMTs, we can man the squad or the engine, we'll have the rescue as well. So that allows you to plan which personnel are coming, how far away they're going to be, and what you're going to be able to do with that personnel. So currently, for a lot of personnel and a lot of people, particularly volunteer fire departments, we just have a pager. And that pager will go off, and you don't know who's coming or going, who's going to be making the call or not, who's a lot of times it's difficult to even track who's in district and not in district. So your current path is your tones go out, people either make it to the station or not, and you don't know how long you're going to be waiting for. Some people get left behind, and you're either calling or texting to try to figure out who's going to be there. The Resgrid scenario is that now you have two-way communication. Your tones go out, you fire up your phone app, you hit your state, so responding or not responding, you get in your vehicle and you go to your station. The first arriving personnel at the station or the department or wherever can open up their app and see, oh, yep, I got 5 people coming. So you got bi-directional communication where there was only one-way communication. The Resgrid platform is a combination of mobile applications on the iPhone, iPad, Android, Windows Phone 7, and Windows Phone 8 platforms. And we will be extending into Windows 8 apps as well. And a web-based HTML5, CSS3 responsive design. That means that you can access and use the site on your mobile browser and get full functionality, and it'll work really well in your tablet form factor, in your phone form factor, just using it over your cell connection or Wi-Fi. So you don't need to have an always-on internet connection at your station that no one's barely at. You can do everything you want to do over the web on your phone or iPad or tablet device, at your home office, getting everything kind of set up there, and on the go with the mobile apps. It allows you to track a bunch of things. Resgrid also has a back-end API. So we're not a replacement for anything. We would rather be a component in your organization. So we will allow you to integrate with any kind of software. We give you full access to this API that can be used over the internet. So you can hook it up in your CAD software, your reporting software, or any other kind of system. You just talk to your integration professional, you give them our API reference, and away you go. Some of the features of Resgrid is that, as opposed to just personnel management, we do have a basic call, an e-dispatch system where you can enter in some calls, some nature of incidents, set a priority and a location. We allow you to manage your units and apparatuses. So your engines, your utilities, your squads, trucks, whatever, and allows you to say this is in service, this is out of service. You can add some notes to it and maybe an alert, say, hey, pump's running kind of squirtily, airline isn't working well, secondary air hose is leaking, so you can add all those kind of notes. For calls in the Resgrid system, you can log some run reports in there. So your times, what was the condition upon arrival, your actions, your narrative. So you can add a very quick run report or log to the calls in the system. Another feature is we have note support and pre-plans. So you can add in, if you've gone on a medical to a location, you can go in there, make some notes for that address. So when the call comes into Resgrid, you can tie that to your notes and your pre-plans. So you can get all your notes for that address, and you can get all your pre-plans for that address and any kind of surrounding buildings as well. And there's just a number of mobile app support. So not only can you just use it on the web using your Chrome, Safari, IE, whatever kind of mobile browser your phone supports, you can also use native apps. And there will be a number of native apps supporting certain roles. So there will be an app for personnel, which is already out there and it's free. There's an app for ICs or commanders. That's already out there as well. And that's a tablet app that they can use to set status and see a bunch of different things. And then there will be a app that's not yet available, but will be shortly, for units. And especially now that we are into the point where we have iPad minis, Google Nexus 7 devices, where these are very low cost, cheap devices that have an active cell connection in there. These are very good devices for departments to be putting in their rigs and their apparatus. And this will be uniquely tuned for that role. So you'll be able to select which personnel are on the apparatus with you. That'll help your accountability, and it'll also allow you to track the GPS location of that unit, because it should have an active cell connection, and then allow you to add some notes to your personnel. So it'll work best in the active cell connection environment, but as we all know, that doesn't always happen. So it'll just locally tally up and queue all your actions, and once you connect to the network via Wi-Fi or whatever, it'll then upload all that to Resgrid. So who can benefit from Resgrid? Obviously, this was originally designed for the volunteer career fire and EMS departments, but we've had a lot of interest from wildland, hotshot, hand crews, to be able to coordinate their responses, other seasonal programs. We've talked with a number of search and rescue organizations. They kind of operate more like the volunteer fire departments and EMS departments, where they only have a pager or a call tree or emails or text blasts, and it's very difficult for them to coordinate the half dozen of members that usually comprise those teams to get out there. Additionally, there's hazmat techs and personnel and apparatus that are usually really spread out. Most departments aren't large enough, obviously some notable exceptions, to have a complete hazmat team with all the required techs and specialists and equipment. So those could be a number of departments in a state or surrounding area that contribute to have a full hazmat response team. So those guys would be very geographically dispersed. So being able to coordinate and get all those people in apparatus wouldn't work normally with just radios. And finally, any kind of disaster response organizations that operate more on the fire department side. These could be state disaster response organizations, federal, charitable. It's anybody with dispersed personnel that don't have direct communications but need to coordinate not only with the higher ups in the chain of command, like the ICS system, but also need to kind of know what their surrounding units are doing. So, hey, who's going to be, delivering water to this location, or, delivering food or setting up a shelter. People need to coordinate a lot in those organizations, and that's where Resgrid can help out. So where are we now? We started development of Resgrid in June 2012. So it hasn't been a lot of time since we, came up with the idea and then started developing it and got the mobile apps out there. It's a very, very, very nascent. We are in open beta. Our first goal was get it out there, get the system stable, running, and get it in the hands of first responders. So it's out there. It's free right now. And we have free mobile apps. You can get in there and you can start using it to your heart's content. We are working to exit beta sometime in Q1, Q2 2013. Nothing set in stone, but we will always have free plans. We will always have free apps, and we will be working with all the first responder organizations to make sure that we're meeting their needs, and the system will always be there for them. Along those lines, we have deployed Resgrid on Microsoft Windows Azure, which is a platform that Microsoft's put out there. It allows for scalability, redundancy, geolocation, and like almost 100% uptime. And that's our goal. See, when we're meeting first responders, we can't have the system down at any point in time. So we always want to have it up. And I'd like to thank you for watching this short video. Go ahead and sign up on resgrid.com. Send us your feedback. Use the platform, the apps, the mobile interfaces. Tell us what you want, and we're going to build it. We will tailor it for your specific needs. That's our goal, is not to have this hugely complex system. We want it to meet the needs of first responder organizations. So give us feedback and let us know. Thanks for watching.